So we are greatly honored that the family in some way, through Ravi's grandmother, late grandmother, her fund, her trust money has been, what remains of it is contributed to Shanti Bhavan, been chosen, Shanti Bhavan is chosen by Ravi and his brothers to help us. And kindergarten school is being named after Krishna, Nehru, Hutheesing. And that's a great honor to be associated with the family, the name. And so I'm greatly honored. We are all greatly honored. We thank you immensely for making that choice. And we are proud to carry the name on one of our buildings. All right, so we will have this event, but before we do that, I'd like to listen to a little bit of history from Ravi on history of India through the family connection. Thank you.
Well, it really is my honor always to come and visit Shanti Bhavan, but of course this is a very special honor for me. And I get to tell you a little bit about my grandmother, Krishna Nehru. She was a very interesting person. She was a mischievous child, but she was a very caring mother. She was a prolific author and also a freedom fighter herself. And as Dr. George said, she was the younger sister of Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. And they had a very close relationship. And what's interesting is that Jawaharlal, first Prime Minister of India, actually was homeschooled until about the age of 16. But then his father, Motilal, decided he wanted what was best for his son and sent him to boarding school, to a residential school. He felt that is what would make his son great. For my grandmother, it was a little different because Motilal felt that it was best that she remained homeschooled. But she was this really social, active person. And she really missed out on the boarding school experience. She missed out on not being amongst friends and having that camaraderie that was so important to her. So she was a little lonely in that sense. But she married my grandfather, Raja Hutheesing, and that's where the Hutheesing name comes into the equation. And together they had two sons, Ajit and Harsh. And Ajit, that one, was my dad. This was a really interesting time in India's history. This is in the early 40s, early 1940s. And the family, along with Gandhiji and many others, are fighting for India's independence. And it was a very difficult time in the family house because members of our family were going to jail all the time. And you never knew when that was going to happen. Krishna, my grandmother, was in jail. And so she wanted her children to go to boarding school. Not only because she had missed out on the boarding school experience, but she didn't want to be taken off to jail and leaving her two young children alone at home. So she wanted them to go to boarding school. And Nehru, actually, he was in jail 9 times, I believe, for a total of 9 years. And he wrote to her from jail one day, wrote to my grandmother, persuading her to put my father into boarding school. And he said, boarding school is so important for a child. Boarding school is so important. It's the transition to wider spheres of activity through their own intellectual training and the personal experiences of fellow students. And I just want you to think about that, because the experience that you get here is partly what you learn in the classrooms, but very much what you learn from each other and the experiences that you have. And this was something that was so important to Nehru, so important to my grandmother, that both my uncle and my father spent many years growing up in a boarding school. And my father loved it. He was really happy and enjoyed that experience. So it really is an honor to be able to be part of this here at Shanti Bhavan. And I'm not alone. I'm not representing just myself. I'm representing my brothers, Nikhil and Vivek, who made this decision along with me, that we wanted these funds to go to Shanti Bhavan. And this was set up, the Krishna Nehru Trust was set up by my father, Ajit. And he set it up with one goal in mind, which was to contribute to furthering education in India. It was a simple goal. But he died before he could choose a recipient. So my brothers and I were left with that task. And it was pretty easy, certainly for me, and they were very supportive. And it was Shanti Bhavan and all of you that we wanted to try to give this opportunity. And so I come here representing all of them because it really is an honor that we can contribute to your education, but also have a building named after our grandmother. All of us have something in common, which is that none of us met my grandmother. She died before I was born. I never met her. My brothers were 3 years old and 5 years old when she died. They hardly knew her. So it's really great for us to not only then come and visit you, but in some way we'll be able to come and visit her here as well. And that means a lot to us. So thank you, Dr. George, thank you, Shanti Bhavan, for going down this road with us, because this is just the beginning of a journey that we'll all take together. And I know that she will be watching over all of you. She'll be smiling upon you, and she'll be encouraging you as you achieve great things and discover all the amazing things that life has to offer. So Krishna Nehru Hutheesing House, we know it's a place where students live, learn, share experiences, and grow into well-adjusted and socially conscious adults prepared to lead India into the future. That's what we know all of you can do. And as the Hutheesing family, we're very proud to now officially be a part of this and travel that road with you. So thank you.
Occupying. Hey, wait a minute. These are the children who will be occupying. KG. Hey, say hi.
Hi. From the bottom?
Anyway, whichever is inside.
Then they open here with throw glass up.
Nehru House will be prestige.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Yep. Okay.
Perfect.
Very good. Thank you, and we are very honored.
Likewise.
Very good. Now, Rati, distribute the rest.
Yes. Shall we do? Okay, you say any photo. Thank you.
Okay, Vincent, you distribute. Now,